Good evening, BBIG family. I understand that some of you may have already discussed this video in a space call last night. Unfortunately, I was not able to be present as it was my birthday. My daughter was having her wisdom teeth out and my best friend passed away last night. However, I may have a different take than a lot of you. I'm not quite sure what was said in that meeting, but I want you to listen to the video again, and then I'm going to piece it up piece by piece because, guys, I do have some concerns, and I am as honest as they come. I have nothing to gain from anything. I am bullish on BBIG. I am long BBIG, but I have some concerns that I think you guys need to be aware of because it's very, very important as investors that we look at both sides of things. So I just want you to hear me out, and I'm not trying to create FUD or stir anything up, that's for sure. I'm just trying to keep an open, honest dialogue. Now, there were a lot of bullish things that I'd also like to talk about. I don't want to make this too long because it's going to be long enough with me analyzing this video and telling you my thoughts. And then you'll hear me say at the end that I think we need to plan another time to discuss this, as well as to discuss all of the positive things that have been happening today. The new CEO of Zash is, a GameStop bull. I believe that he will help us with the short sellers. But guys, there's just something bothering me about Ted, and I can't shake it. And if I don't tell you, I'm not being honest with myself, and I'm not being honest with you. I think there's a lot more to this story that we don't know all the facts to. So that being said, I'm not selling a single share, and that's not my recommendation to anyone. You guys need to do what's best for you and your families. I'm not here to sway you either way, and I'm not selling again. So, please listen to this with an open mind, though, because if we're going to get to the bottom of this and know what we're investing in, we need to know the good and the bad, because I wouldn't want to go to bed at night and put my head on my pillow without saying my concerns. So please keep an open mind. Don't bash me for my honesty in this. I'm just trying to be real with all of my followers, and I'm looking for your opinion as well, and to try to, tell me if you think I'm crazy for thinking what I think. Anyways, let's get started.
My name is Ted Farnsworth. I'm the co-founder and chairman of Zash Global Media, as well as co-CEO of Vinco Ventures. First of all, let me apologize to the shareholders of Vinco Ventures. I mean, it looks like a circus going on here. We had a shareholders meeting, and then the following day we did an 8K that told all the things that happened. And I was nominated I was actually elected as co-CEO of Vinco Ventures. And that was really to shepherd through the deal of Zash Media, Global Media with Vinco, things like that, of trying to get it closed. And this deal has been out there for over a year and a half. And I believe personally, on behalf of the Vinco shareholders, it's just not right. It really starts with John Colucci. And John Colucci, came on board as an independent director, and he was, had data background, but not, massive background in it. No public company experience, but more as the independent director to be able to explain about data. So we hired independent counsel out there to see about his independence as a board member, because we had questions and we just wanted to make sure. So we literally hired independent counsel, one of the top firms in the country. And they came back and they had serious reservations about it. And then at the end of the day, he would answer the questions of different things. You just can't do that in a public company. It's the disclosure. I always tell people, if you disclose everything, you'll be fine. And the bottom line is it was a lack of disclosure. So when our lawyers said yesterday to have him step down as independent director, they don't believe he's qualified. And then they turn around and said, as well, is to step down and take a administrative leave of absence as co-CEO. Well, there you go. He fires off a press release without any company authority at all. Fast forward to where we are today, he's not qualified to be an independent, director for sure, especially if he's claiming he's CEO. And he's just sitting here just blocking the company right now from getting work done, distractions in the company. You can imagine the employees, all the employees I've heard from. And then he comes out with this thwarted hostile takeover from our group. Well, if you know Wall Street, a hostile takeover is when they come in to buy your company and management doesn't want you in there. This deal has been out there for a year and a half, and it can't be hostile because I was the one that raised the money for them from working with Zash and everything else. I raised all the money and brought all the assets, Lemotive and AdRiser, and closed all these. So there's no way that's hostile. It's like it's a deal that's been out there for a year and a half. And the only ones that are suffering here is the Vinco shareholders. John Colucci has only been an independent director for Vinco Ventures for the last approximately 6 weeks. That's it. A lot of people sit there and say he's a very charming guy. And I would say, yes, he's a very charming guy, but smart people will figure it out right away and they can see it coming. My personal opinion is they thought, by saying they thwarted us out, the stock would take off and everything will be wonderful. Well, the shareholders suffered today. We just hit a new 52-week low, supposedly their first day on the job. And the stock dropped over 20% today. The employees of Vinco Ventures are second to none, where everybody's been supportive. Everybody's rallied around. And I keep telling them, look, keep your head down. This is the biggest distraction where we have all these amazing things going on. And in any corporation like this, distractions like this just stop the workflow. And to me, it's about with everybody there, the employees, just focus on doing what we're doing, keep going forward. And right now, I'm still the co-CEO. If anything changes, I'll be the first one to tell them and to move forward and just continue on.
Okay, guys, I have listened to this video at least 5 times now, possibly more. And after you heard it, I want to go and break it down piece by piece and go over my thoughts on each part of it and my questions, because I have some very serious concerns about some of the things that Ted said and about the body language that we're seeing in this video. So please remember, I am long BBIG and I am bullish on Vinco and Zash, AdRiser, Lomo. I think there's amazing potential with this company. I just have some very serious concerns on what is going on in the management. And I definitely think there is a massive conflict of interest going on. We already know there's a massive conflict of interest going on with Susquehanna and all of that. But I also think there's a massive conflict of interest, or conflict in general, maybe, between the management inside BBIG. And clearly there's a major problem between Ted and John Colucci. And that's very concerning, because I don't know how you run a company with people butting heads like this. And John Colucci only came in the picture, 6 weeks ago? How is he already co-CEO? Who made that executive decision? I'm concerned, because if he was given that power immediately, there's something bigger that Ted's not telling us in this video. So let's break it down and let's see if maybe we can put our heads together. I'd love to eventually do another space call on this. But guys, I am grieving right now. As you may have seen on Twitter, I did lose my best friend yesterday. So this is the best way for me to do this right now. But as soon as I have some time, I'm hoping you guys will watch this video, listen to what I have to say, and then I hope to have an open discussion on BBIG on a space call, because I think that we as an investment community need to come together and discuss what's going on, because there's many of us that have a lot of money in this play. And guys, even if, you're not like some people that have, 6 figures in it, to you, a lot of money might be $1,000. To you, a lot of money might be $500. That doesn't mean that you're any less valuable than anybody that has $100,000, $1 million in this. Because to you, this is your money. And to me, this is my money too. And we all matter here. So it's important that as a community, no matter how big or small you think your position is, we come together and we figure this out, because a lot of us have already lost a lot of money in this play. I don't think anybody's profitable at this point as the share price keeps declining. So, of course, we're all very scared, and we have a right to be, and we have a right to have answers. And there's some things I see in here that, guys, I don't want to be labeled as creating FUD or anything else. I just want to find the truth, and I want all of you to get to the truth too, because we don't want to lose any more money. I don't want to lose any money. I know that you guys don't want to lose any more money either. So we need to figure this out. All right, let's get started and break this down. So you heard it the first time. Now I'm going to pause it in between as we're listening to each part so I can address my concerns for them and tell you what it is I'm thinking.
My name is Ted Farnsworth. I'm the co-founder and chairman of Zash Global Media, as well as co-CEO of Vinco Ventures. First of all, let me apologize to the shareholders of Vinco Ventures. I mean, it looks like a circus going on here. We had a shareholders meeting. And then the following day, we did an 8K.
I paused it right there, guys, because he said, we had a shareholders meeting, and the following day we did an 8K. There was never a shareholders meeting. The shareholders meeting has been delayed twice now. So what do you mean we did a shareholders meeting? You may have had a board meeting, but there was certainly not a shareholders meeting. And I'm wondering if in the laws, in order to change who the CEO is, shareholders have to vote. Has anyone thought about that? Because it just went into my mind because there clearly wasn't a shareholders meeting. They delayed it now twice, right? Okay, let's go on.
That told all the things that happened. And I was nominated as, or I was actually elected as co-CEO.
Who elected him?
And that was really to shepherd through the deal of Zash Media, Global Media with Vinco, things like that, of trying to get it closed. And this deal has been out there for over a year and a half. And I believe personally, on behalf of the Vinco shareholders, it's just not right. It really starts with John Colucci. And John Colucci, came on board as an independent director. And he was, had data background, but not, massive background in it. No public company experience, but more as the independent director to be able to explain about data. So we hired independent.
I'm going to pause that right there because how does somebody who has no experience in a public company go from being hired as an independent director to becoming co-CEO? Someone who he admittingly just says right here has no experience. That's a huge concern and red flag to me.
Independent counsel out there to see about his independence as a board member, because we had questions and we just wanted to make sure. So we literally hired.
They hired private counsel to research John Colucci, which shouldn't they have done that prior to hiring him? But they were, according to Ted, concerned about his position on the board. Yet now he's co-CEO. You had questions about him being on the board and he's suddenly co-CEO. Guys, 2 and 2 don't add up.
Hired independent counsel, one of the top firms in the country. And they came back and they had serious reservations about it. And then at the end of the day, he would answer the questions of different things. You just can't do that in a public company.
He wouldn't answer questions about certain things. Okay, well, what kind of questions were you asking? He believes in full disclosure. Guys, I'm telling you, I don't like some of what's going on here because I feel like we're only getting bits and pieces. And remember, this is when I invest, I want to look at both sides of the story. I want to look at the bull thesis and I want to look at the bear thesis because somewhere in between there's a truth, right? So remember, this is Ted's side. I'd love to hear John's side of this, but let's continue and see what else he says.
It's the disclosure. I always tell people, if you disclose everything, you'll be fine. And
also pay attention to how much he's blinking in this, because when somebody blinks a lot when they're doing an interview or something and they're not able to, look you straight in the eye or look directly into the camera, it's generally a sign that he's lying. And I'm not saying he's lying. Maybe something's causing him to blink. I don't know. But I'm telling you, as body language from somebody who listened to those Amber Heard, videos that, like, at night, just because I wanted to get my mind off the stock market and focus on something else. So I started studying the body language of things she was doing. I have learned that from multiple specialists that specialize in body language that blinking is a sign of lying. So keep that in mind. I'm not accusing him of lying. I'm just stating something that I learned.
The bottom line is it was a lack of disclosure. So when our lawyers said yesterday to have him step down as independent director, they don't believe he's qualified. And then
they don't believe he's qualified as independent director, yet he's gone from independent director to co-CEO. Do you see what I'm saying with something doesn't add up?
And they turn around and said, as well, is to step down and take a administrative leave of absence as co-CEO. Well, there you go. He fired.
And as well as step down and take an administrative leave of absence from co-CEO. How did somebody who they're investigating as a position of independent director, which, mind you, they only hired 6 weeks ago, shouldn't a public company that's hiring somebody with a large public position be researching that person prior to hiring them? It's just a red flag to me. Something's not right about what Ted's telling us. And suddenly he goes from independent counsel with very little experience, no experience with public companies, somebody who was hired to look at the data, is suddenly co-CEO. Something's not right. And then he puts out that announcement, okay? Because they asked him to take an administrative leave and step down as co-CEO, which literally like a day or two prior, they had just appointed him as that. So, and who's doing these appointments? If it's a public company, then either the board is supposed to vote for these positions or the shareholders. One of the two. And according to this, there was a shareholder meeting that didn't exist because I don't know about you, but I certainly didn't get any letter about a shareholders meeting except for the two that they've canceled and rescheduled. Okay.
Off a press release without any company authority at all. Fast forward to where we are today, he's not qualified to be an independent, director for sure, especially if he's claiming he's CEO. And he's just sitting here just blocking the company right now from getting work done, distractions in the company. You can imagine the employees, all the employees I've heard from. And then he comes out with this thwarted hostile takeover from our group. Well, if you know Wall Street, a hostile takeover is when they come in to buy your company and management doesn't want you in there. This deal has been out there for a year and a half, and it can't be hostile because I was the one that raised the money.
Okay. Again, watch his blinking. There's times when he's not. So there's parts of this I believe that he's being honest about. But pay attention to that. And if you need to, rewatch it afterwards. I'm going to continue because I'm going to actually go back to the part I want to discuss that he just said at the end about he was the one who raised the money and stuff, because there's something that I saw on Twitter today that brings a red flag to this area as well.
For them, from working with Zash and everything else, I raised all the money and brought all the assets, Lomotive and
just remember, I raised all the money and I brought all the assets.
AdRiser and closed on all these. So there's no way that's hostile. It's like it's a deal that's been out there for a year and a half. And the only ones that are suffering here is the Vinco shareholders.
That I'll 100% agree with. We are absolutely suffering here, and that's why this is not okay. And our pockets are suffering as well because of this circus that's going on over there. He's right. It is an absolute circus.
John Colucci has only been an independent director for Vinco Ventures for the last approximately 6 weeks. That's it. A lot of people sit there and say he's a very charming guy.
Okay, remember, he's only been an independent director for 6 weeks, and suddenly he's become CEO. But he's a very charming guy. Do we really care if he's charming or not? That's great. Fabulous. Does he do his job? That's more what I care about. I don't know.
And I would say, yes, he's a very charming guy. But smart people will figure it out right away and they can see it coming. My personal opinion is they thought, by saying they thwarted us out, the stock would take off and everything will be wonderful. Well, the shareholders suffered today. We just hit a new 52-week low.
The shareholders suffered today. Where have they been while we've been suffering for the last year? Since basically last October, we've suffered. Yeah, little bouts of it going, up for a very brief period and immediately getting shot right back down. So we've been suffering a lot more than today. I mean, this is just the icing on the cake, but we've been suffering for months. And where has Vinco been? And where has Ted been about our concerns that we've been addressing for months?
Supposedly, their first day on the job, and the stock dropped over 20% today. The employees of Vinco Ventures are second to none, where everybody's been supportive, everybody's rallied around, and I keep telling them, look, keep your head down. This is the biggest distraction where we have all these amazing things going on. And in any corporation like this, distractions like this just stop the workflow. And to me, it's about with everybody there, the employees just focus on doing what we're doing, keep going forward. And right now, I'm still the co-CEO. If anything changes, I'll be the first one to tell them and to move forward and just continue on. My name is Ted Farnsworth.
Sorry, guys. So, okay. I get about we need to move forward and carry on, but we also need to get answers to this. So I'm going to share one more piece with you, and then I'm going to leave this for you to watch. I'm going to put a message up on Twitter, hoping you all see it, and then try to plan a time when we can all get together after everyone's watched this to do a discussion, because it's important we do. Okay, guys, this was my concern in regards to Ted taking all the credit for bringing everything with Zash, AdRiser, and Lemotive to the company. And here's the part that I saw, the tweet that I saw that I wanted to just bring to everyone's attention. I don't know who this person is, BBIG Resistance, but he says, interesting. Vincent brought Vinco to the table. Vincent and Jason made the Lemotive deal happen, had extensive experience in that specific space, and drove that initiative. Adding AdRiser meeting with Matt Agrill and Lori Agrill, right? It was all Ted, Vin for CEO. Okay, guys, I know there's like some huge thing out there of who people think should be the next CEO, and people want, Vincent to be the CEO, but guys, that's not our job to decide who the CEO of the company is. We may get to have a vote depending on what the board's rules for that are, which I'm still very confused about, and I have to do some serious digging that unfortunately I don't have time for right now. So if anybody else has and they know, then I'd love to hear it, because, like we heard Ted say in the beginning of this call, they had a shareholders meeting, which they absolutely did not, to determine who the co-CEOs and to make all these changes were. Is this something that shareholders need to vote on? Is this something that just the board can vote on? What is the deal with the board? Because it seems like they have problems keeping board members, and it seems like there's a major issues anyways. But we all kind of know that there's been problems along that line. But let's see what this article says, and this will be the final thing I just want to bring to people's attention that we can discuss. Relationships I have fostered over the years find their way into Zash Global Media, which I co-founded with partners Jason Ma and Ted Farnsworth. I was working with the Vinco Ventures team and their Everyday Edison TV show prior to forming Zash Global Media, and introduced them to my partners and co-founders of Zash, as I felt they would be great partners for us. So this is coming from Vincent. I also loved the Inventor Challenge idea, which was the premise of Everyday Edison TV show. That was part of Vinco Ventures and felt the show could have great global appeal. Soon after Jason Ma, Ted Farnsworth, and I agreed to acquire Lemotive, Jason Ma and myself, having had extensive experience in that specific space, and drove that initiative. So Vincent and Jason drove that initiative, according to this. We all felt this could help us jumpstart and fulfill our overall vision for Zash Global Media, which is articulated by Ted Farnsworth very well in the Variety article below. Congratulations to my partners and fellow co-founders of Zash Global Media, Jason Ma and Ted Farnsworth, on a job well done. Adding AdRiser to the mix, a company I was first introduced to by Matt Agrawal and Lori Agrawal, brings ad tech and potential monetization to the mix. I just returned from Cape Verde, Africa, meeting with our You've Been Scouted music team, led by acclaimed music producer Ted Riley. You've Been Scouted was our music talent discovery show featured on The Motive. So proud to have connected Teddy Riley and his team to our amazing company as well, and to hear some of what they are working on with You've Been Scouted winner Vat and Kumar's. All right, guys. So the reason I'm bringing this to your attention is because in that video we just watched from Ted, he's taking credit for bringing all of, AdRiser and The Motive and to, Zash. And guys, it was more than just Ted. And it sounds like it was mostly Vincent and Jason. And, obviously Ted was involved, but from reading this, it sounds a little bit different. Now, again, there's two sides to every story, and somewhere in the middle, there's the truth, right? So I'm taking this all in with a grain of salt, as I want you to, and look at every angle of it. And let's see if we can get together, possibly tomorrow, and have another space call after everybody's watched this, because I don't want to have to repeat myself a million times. I just want to get to the facts, because, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm mourning. I don't have a lot of time, but this is important to me, as all of you are. And, this is something that, I've been invested in BBIG for well over a year now, before it ever had its first run up. So guys, I've had it, cheap, and I've had it, I bought more at highs, and I bought down along the way, and I just bought more yesterday. So again, I am not trying to be a fudster or anything like that. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this and find the truth, which we all need. And guys, clearly the price is not where it should be. I mean, look at everything that came out today. Again, video has been too long already, but please go look on Twitter, look at the Niz and look at everything he's put out. And guys, you can do this yourself too. Look at Market Chameleon every day. Look at the dark pool. I assure you, actually, I'm going to tell you what the dark pool was real quick. All right, guys, we're going to end it on a positive note, because BBIG traded a total of 15 million shares today, of which 73% of the total shares traded were done in the dark pool, guys, which is higher than the average over the past 20 days, which was 67%. Again, guys, no dispute. This is absolutely unacceptable and goes back to the whole ban the dark pool thing, because under no circumstances should 73% of trades at any time be taken off the lit exchange and be put into the dark pool. This is why the price is being driven down. You can see that day in and day out, on average, there are more buy orders than there are sell orders for BBIG. And guys, this is not the true price. This is manipulation. This is, calling a spade a spade. Susquehanna has a complete conflict of interest, as we all know. But on a time when supposedly BBIG has a lot of speculation and a lot of people scared due to the FUD that's being created, they have to put 73% of trades in the dark pool? What does that tell you? I'll tell you what it tells me. And this is fact. It tells me that BBIG apes, we are not selling. BBIG apes are buying more. We're taking advantage of the sale price. Like I tweeted out earlier. Guys, you know what? Let them keep it down as long as they want. Because in the end, who's going to benefit? If you know your conviction and you're strong in it, which I'm still strong in my conviction of BBIG. I just have concerns about some of the, the people in the circus inside, because clearly Ted's right. There's definitely a circus going on in there. That's where my concern is. It's not the company. It's not the product. It's not Lomo. It's not AdRiser. It's not the potential that I see in this company. I 100% believe in this company, or I would have sold a long, long, long time ago. And guys, I'm not going anywhere. Again, this is not to scare you. It's to say that I have concerns about insiders, and I don't like being lied to by anyone. And I feel like Ted is not being completely honest with us. So, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to apologize for it. However, I am telling you just from body language and everything else that something's not right. And I know he has a past. So, I've gotten into it with an open mind. I think he's a very, very bright man. I think he's extremely intelligent, 100%. But I have some concerns about his ethics, and I don't think that I know he doesn't have a history of being honest with shareholders, and I feel like he's lying to us now. So, and by withholding the truth when he's telling us that shareholders deserve to know, that's lying, guys. And we do deserve to know. We have, between all of us, we own the majority of the shares of BBIG, and we have a right to know what's happening with the company that we own the majority of as retail. Okay, that's all that I'm saying here. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. One quick thing before I go: the sweep orders and the block trades. Sweep orders today represented 14% of the trades, guys. They use sweep orders in order to drive the price in one direction or another. It's considered a very bullish move, and when it's done in dark pools, it's it can be done on the lit exchange or in dark pools. So we don't really know from this. But when it's done, it's being used as an aggressive move to either acquire shares, which generally would drive the price up, or to sell shares, which generally would drive the price down. Now, I think they're using it in order to drive the price one way or another by, sending most of the buy orders to the dark pool and sending most of the sell orders to the lit exchange and using these sweep orders to drive the price down. That's my thoughts on that. But guys, also, block trades accounted for 23% of today's volume. The average is 29%. So it's a little bit less than normal, but that's institutional buying generally when you see these large block trades coming in. So institutions are still either buying or selling. My guess is they're probably buying at this point, because I don't think institutions are going to be selling at a loss unless they don't want to deal with, with this circus anymore. That'd be the only thing that would make me think they would sell. But looking at the book of buy and sell orders, guys, I think the only selling that we're probably seeing is either retail that's gotten margin called, or retail that just can't do it anymore because they've had enough. And, or, they need money for their families and they're afraid. Because I'll be honest with you, if you look at the TA, it could go down further. Okay, so just be prepared. It could go down further. So I've made a decision that for now, I did buy a significant amount more as a birthday present to me yesterday of BBIG, and I also bought some more Tide. But I've also decided that I'm not going to be buying anymore until I feel that we're definitely at a bottom, because I don't want to keep having to average down when I could be saving this up for if we hit an even lower low. Which I had a friend who reached out to me today and said, just want to give you a heads up, the bottom of BBIG is 55 cents. And I said, where are you getting that from? And her dad does a lot of technical analysis and stuff, and I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at it lately because I don't know how accurate the Fibonacci levels would be given the the split, or not the split, but rather the Tide spinoff. I don't know how that works, so I just haven't done it, but I'm guessing that that's where it comes from. So whether it's accurate or not, I don't know. But I also know that they've been working very hard to drive this down, and I think they're going to try to get it as cheap as they possibly can by creating fear in people. So guys, there's a lot of opportunity, and I can see, if you want a dollar cost average in, will it go lower? It could go higher before it goes lower. I don't know, or it could never go lower. We could hit our floor. I honestly don't know, because like I said, every bit of technical analysis I have done on this play, it's not adding, well, there's some that's added up, but a lot of it's not adding up because of the news, because basically when a stock's under $5, it's very hard to do accurate technical analysis, especially when it's being heavily manipulated. That's the bottom line. So I've just decided I'm not going to frustrate myself with it anymore, other than if I see a 1348, I might call it out, guys, because I have people that yell at me that I call it out and nothing ever happens, but then I have people that yell at me when I don't call it out and be like, well, why didn't you tell us when it was going up? We missed it. No, guys, because then I got frustrated that people don't say. So, hey, if I see it crossing and I think it can make a move, I might say, we're going to make a 1348. That doesn't mean that something has to happen. I'm going to remind everybody, the stock is very heavily manipulated by Susquehanna. Okay? So, nobody wants to be sued. Allegedly, that's who the market maker is. They have a conflict of interest. We've all proven this. We all know. It is what it is, guys. So until they're ready to allow this to run, it's not going to run. That's what I've put in my head. And you guys can put whatever you want in yours, but I don't care. Because I've also put in my head that, thank you. This is giving me an opportunity to load the boat, because I do think that this stock will make a lot of us very wealthy if, and this is an if AdRiser and Lomotive take off the way that I think they're going to. Okay? So hang in there, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.